If this is the first time that you have been introduced to Sophie Thatcher, you're in for a real treat because the girl can act, and I think she's one of the best horror girlies that we have next to Micah Monroe. Hey everyone, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMXND Reviews on Twitter, X, Blue Sky, and also Letterboxd. I love my Letterboxd so much. I've been trying to keep up with mainly older releases, and I'll get into that a bit later. As for right now, I am back, kind of. Days may vary, reviews may vary depending on what I watch and the time that I have to review it for you lovely people, but I missed it. I recently did a live stream for the Oscar nominations. Kind of hard not to react to those because they're like my favorite thing. Thank you to everyone for joining me there. I'll drop the link down below. But January had a really fun movie come out, and that is Companion. I watched the teaser trailer. I didn't watch the second trailer. I don't even think I watched the last trailer. Do not watch the trailers. It comes out this Friday. Do not watch the trailers. And if you have watched the trailers, I really hope it didn't spoil that much for you because it spoils a lot, unfortunately. But the concept is really cool, and I'm going to try to do this without spoilers because I was still in shock while watching it, even though I kind of know what Sophie Thatcher's character is, and they did spoil that in the trailer, but the synopsis is completely different than what the trailer does give off on IMDb. So it says here, a billionaire's death sets off a chain of events for Iris, who is played by Sophie Thatcher, and her friends during a weekend trip to his lakeside estate. Sure. That's exactly what you want out of a thriller. You don't know. It's a pretty vague synopsis, but it has some gender roles tied in. It has the abuse of technology tied in. It's about this girl, Iris, who's played by the wonderful Sophie Thatcher, who I adore. I watched her in Boogeyman. I thought she was great in that. I loved her in Heretic, however you want to pronounce that. She was very good. The best part of that movie next to Hugh Grant. I thought she was great. But she has been on a roll. And if this is the first time that you have been introduced to Sophie Thatcher, you're in for a real treat because the girl can act, and I think she's one of the best horror girlies that we have next to Micah Monroe. Everyone says Jenna Ortega, big name, of course. Shout out to Melissa Barrera, who is also one of my favorite Scream queens, and obviously Mia Goth. I think that Sophie Thatcher is definitely coming up there for, I guess, the top 5 of our generation, really. I really like her. So she is completely in love with Jack Quaid. Who can blame her? We love Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid plays Josh, who is her boyfriend, and it was a really sweet beginning. The way that they market it is that this is like from the creators of The Notebook, and obviously the creators of Barbarian. If you haven't seen Barbarian, fantastic film. So good by director Zach Kreger. So awesome. So the hype is there for like this romantic thriller. And, it's a really cute first meeting with Iris and Josh, and there's a voiceover of Iris, and she kind of gives a breakdown of when they first met and the last time they ever see each other. So I love their chemistry. I think Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher played it really well. Without spoiling too much, it's in obviously the poster. Sophie Thatcher is like this robotic girlfriend that Josh signs up for, and they bring her like this life-size AI robot to his house, and that's how he gets to know her. But obviously Iris doesn't really know that she is a robot. Again, trying so hard not to spoil the concept, but it's already in these trailers. It plays with these gender dynamics, and I think they did a good job with it, especially with men really wanting to feel manly and feel that they are powerful in a relationship, and they want someone who's very vulnerable and submissive. And I think that Sophie Thatcher played it extremely well because Josh just wanted someone who was going to love him, do anything that he wants, and like completely go after him and constantly praise him. There's some men out there who seek women like that. Very agreeable. And it just gets into this really kind of dark and twisted perception of what men want and how they perceive women without the robots. It's like, well, this is how men want their intelligence percentage on women and this and that. And I'm not saying that all men are like this, but there's the exploration of what men really want. And there is a percentage of men out there. It was very interesting to see where the story went with Josh and Jack Quaid. And because Jack Quaid's such a lovable and likable person, shout out to Warner Brothers for the press screening for this, for the invitation. He actually showed up, Jack Quaid, to our Toronto screening, which was amazing. And we got to listen to him speak about the film and what it does, you know, what technology does in regard to relationships. And we see that all the time, like through our phones, through dating apps, and just the freedom of saying certain things that are better left unsaid, especially from men. You don't have to say everything that comes to your head, but they do, especially about women. I'm saying this, Jack Quaid, you know, kind of breaks it down that we abuse the technology, and it does show a massive abuse of technology in here, especially in regards to relationships and trying to just bend it to human will. Because realistically, technology can get out of our hands. And again, that's what we see here. It takes it a bit too far. And it's a really fun time. It's a fun time because they keep it at surface level. It's not too, you know, in your face in regards to the messaging here or the social commentary. It's just a lot of fun to watch because the audience is in the know of like Iris and who she is and what Josh and his friends were trying to do here at this lakeside weekend. So I think that the audience being in the know and still somehow having the characters be unpredictable is exciting, and it's so intriguing. The kills were fantastic. I think they were very unexpected, and I loved every second of it. Because Sophie Thatcher plays it truly so over the top in every single way, whether she's overly emotional, whether she's very angry or very violent. I think that she absolutely went there with whatever emotion she was conveying. I just thought it was fantastic work from her because these kind of films, especially for a January release, they fade into the background a bit. But with a performance like Sophie Thatcher, I think she was like the star of the entire film. I thought she was fantastic. Shout out also to Harvey Julien for playing Eli. He was one of the better secondary characters, and I really had fun with him. He was more the comic relief with Lucas Gage as well, who's in this, who plays his partner. I think it was just a lot of fun. But the thing is that in regard to the messaging towards the end of the film, this is where it kind of threw me off. It's like they didn't know where to end it, when to end it. And writer-director Drew Hancock, he did a great job up until the last like 30 minutes. I think they stretched it a bit too far. And I do think that in regard to Josh's treatment to Iris, like we didn't need it that much. We understand what he wanted. We understand that he wanted someone who was going to be so incredibly submissive that he could get away with literal murder and do whatever he pleases with his robot, with his woman, essentially. So it's a very interesting ending. I do think they prolonged it. I do think it was just a bit too much. That's why it kind of didn't make me give it 4.5 out of 5 or a 4 out of 5. Like I was really loving it, but then it dragged towards the last, I'd say 30 minutes. I did end up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars just because I do think they could have done more with the social commentary. They didn't beat you over the head with it, but they could have gone a bit more in depth, especially from the women's perspective. You have Iris giving the voiceover at the beginning of the film, and we didn't hear her after that. So to hear kind of her thought process maybe throughout as an overlay, trying to figure out what the hell Josh is doing, because you did present that at the beginning, it kind of felt like they completely just threw that away and focused on the present moment. But I do think that because she's a robot, it would have been cool to go inside of her head. Or else I thought the lead up to the finale was just so much fun. It was so fun, very entertaining. I do think that people will have a good time with this. It's not mind-blowing or it doesn't change anything about the genre, but I did have fun watching it. And I know a lot of people are going to have fun in like a packed theater this weekend just because of what Sophie Thatcher does and just the twists and turns throughout. I think it's a lot of fun. The other thing that I really enjoyed was that the humor wasn't cringy. And a lot of like young adult films, they don't have proper dialogue anymore because a lot of it is like either AI generated, to be perfectly honest, or they're looking at Twitter and how people converse and then applying it to these films. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that modern. People will still laugh. People will still relate and connect to these characters. I really appreciate that it was a dry sense of humor, especially from Jack Quaid, who has like perfect delivery. So I didn't think it was like too cringe in that case. Like I said, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you don't have anything to do this weekend and you want a fun movie, I do recommend watching Companion. So I do plan on doing other reviews hopefully this year as time will allow it for me. I am planning on doing a 007 series because I've never gone through the entire franchise. And then I'm going into a deep dive of Brian De Palma and a deep dive for Alfred Hitchcock because many blind spots there. So if you guys want to keep up with me, I may not do all reviews. We'll see how that goes. But you guys can follow me over at AMXND Reviews on Twitter, on Letterboxd, more importantly, where I will be giving a little bit more in-depth reviews there. And of course, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Amanda Guragi, that is Guarragi. You guys can always follow me there. I will be giving like quick little reviews, funny one-liners, but most of my up-to-date reviews will be over at candidxcinema.com as well. So keep it locked there. All of the links will be below. Thank you guys so much for watching and keep watching movies. I'll catch you next time.